Welcome to a motorsports event that embodies the ultimate challenge of the four-wheel drive lifestyle, Land Rover TReK 1997. Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Bob Barsha. In the next 60 minutes, you'll see highlights of the day-long Land Rover TReK, a series of tests of mental focus, physical endurance, and the ability of our contestants to extract the most from the remarkable Land Rover Range Rover 4.6 HSE. There'll be sporting competition both in and outside the vehicles. With me to describe the action, Tom Collins, a Land Rover consultant and a man who helped design and build the course for this year's Land Rover TReK. Tom, what we're watching are the best of the best. These crews have won in regional competitions from around the country. Let's look at some of the highlights.
Day one was the Western Regional Trial, and it became a three-way battle between Land Rover Portland, Land Rover Newport Beach, and BMC San Francisco. The rain that fell throughout the day made the event much tougher on the competitors and the judges, but at the end of the day, it was BMC San Francisco that came out on top.
8 teams involved in the Western Trial, including last year's representatives from the region, Land Rover Denver East, but they could not top BMC British Motor Cars from San Francisco. Bart Nelson, Willie Solano, and Robert Brown advanced to the finals on a very difficult day, and they were surprised to pull through.
You know, it's a shock because, there was some hairy stuff, and we thought we scored low on it, and look, we ended up coming on top.
On to day 2, the Northeast Trials with 10 teams involved.
Perfecto.
And unlike the previous day, which turned into a three-way battle, Tom, this day was dominated by one team.
Yes, Peabody from Massachusetts, they dominated. They won 4 of the 8 events. We only had 8 events today because the rain totally washed out the trials course, and we had to drop that event. But Peabody was remarkable, especially in the physical exercises.
Just looking at the faces on these competitors shows you just how hard they all wanted to make it to the finals. It wasn't always elegant, but it was competitive. In the end, Land Rover Peabody, Tim Perrell, John Skews, and Chris Halloran advanced.
Good competition today, a lot of rain, made it a little tough, everybody was in there to win though. But we pulled it out good. What do you think, boys?
All right, yeah, be back next week.
All right.
Day 3 featured the Southeast Region Trials. 10 teams, including last year's overall winners from Land Rover North Point near Atlanta, Georgia. But the defending champs could not make it through, beaten by another team from Atlanta.
Yes, Land Rover Buckhead dominated just like Peabody did the week before. They won 3 of the events, the time, speed, distance, sporting clays, and the canoes.
As you can see, much of the action took place under cover of darkness. Sporting competition included shooting sporting clays and riding mountain bikes. A difficult task. You'll see more of that later on. Kevin McKnight from last year's winners knew just how tough this year would be.
It's a little more than we expected. I think it's a lot tougher than last year from what we can see. But I think we're doing really good. We're having a good time and just trying to get out there and win.
Now let's take you back a year ago when Land Rover North Point won the event held on home soil at Little Creek Farms in Social Circle, Georgia. And I guess, Tom, the question is, how is this year's Land Rover TReK different from last year's?
Well, we constructed the course to fit the natural terrain that was provided at the Timbin Game Preserve. And we also upped the ante a little bit. The teams knew what to expect after looking at the videos from last year. So instead of running relays where each man ran a part of the course, this year, they ran every bit of the course.
So you couldn't, for example, have a good biker or a good driver or a good runner in this year's competition. Everybody had to be equally good at everything.
They did, and it was physically very demanding because Vermont has some very steep mountains compared to Georgia.
And so for the second year in a row, Atlanta, Georgia has a team in the Land Rover TReK Finals. This year, Ken Clark, Ricky Moore, and Tim Rocket of Land Rover Buckhead.
Atlanta did do it again. We're very fortunate that we did. We're pretty happy about that. What we'll do different, we'll have to do a lot more practice. This is going to be the winners next time. So we definitely got to practice. It's going to be a much more stiffer competition. A lot to do on the winching.
And you'll find out in a few minutes exactly what he's talking about in our finals. Day 4 of the trials featured the combined regions of Canada and the southwestern United States, Tom.
Once again, the rain proved to be a determining factor here. Just like the other 3 days of trials, it continued to rain very hard, and Land Rover Toronto had a tough battle against Land Rover Houston, but they came out on top. The reason they won was teamwork.
And that teamwork is required in several of the events along the way, as each member of the team must get out there to help the team through. There are bumps and bruises along the way, and we expect more of that in the final. But after another day of stiff trials competition, our 36 teams had been winnowed to our 4 finalists. Land Rover Toronto beat 8 teams, including the representatives from Land Rover Glen Cove last year. Ki Kim, Rob Assatori, and Graham Holmes advanced. Land Rover Toronto.
It was good teamwork. We did well, we worked well as a team. Practicing paid off, but we've got a lot more work to do, a lot more ahead of us, and it's going to be tough next week.
With that, our 4 successful teams returned home to prepare for the finals. We'll be back to Vermont in a moment with the first test of the day in the hours before dawn. Stay with us. Land Rover TReK 97 is being brought to you by Land Rover, the best 4x4 by far.
Land Rover Toronto! Yeah, all right.
A little cold up here, but it's not bad. It's really, really nice.
Oh, I don't know about really, really nice, if it's ever nice at 4 o'clock in the morning. And that's when the teams rolled out for the first test on the finals day of Land Rover 97. And that first test, Tom Collins, was a mental one.
Yeah, it's called Land Rover Logic, and this tests the participants' knowledge of the Land Rover product and also of Land Rover heritage.
Does anybody rattle off the Land Rover mark values? Individualism, authenticity.
It's a bit early. This it just turned 5 o'clock. It's a bit early for those kind of questions, but it was fine. So now on to the physical.
And when Ken Clark talks about physical, he truly means it. This is the test known as the service drive.
Well, drive's a bit of a misnomer because they're going to push their car all the way through this event. This tests their knowledge of using a compass and paces. It also tests their skill on changing air filters and tires. And the most important, the place where everybody lost it, was the proper use of the winch.
In. Okay, in.
Are being fired up to operate that winch. The winch, an all-important part of Land Rover TReK competition. As you mentioned, Tom, teams are required to push the vehicles from station to station after finding the appropriate parts to replace on the car.
I got it! I got it! Got it!
Of course, finding objects in the dark with the help of a compass bearing only can be difficult. In another departure from last year, the teams moved directly from the service drive to the next trial, as Jerry Bernardo found out.
Tough competition, you know. Changing 2 tires compared to 1 last time. A little more to do, a lot more pushing, but you know, you just keep going, get your head straight, push it to the finish line.
Can you explain it really quick for the home viewing audience? You had a little orienteering, you had to look for the air filter, a couple of tires, there was some pushing.
You gotta get in the car.
Hey, you know what? That's what happens. There's no time to waste.
No question about it, Jerry. On to the next event. On-time delivery, basically a time, speed, distance rally style event.
And it's also in combination with orienteering. In order to find their route notes, they have to get to the correct checkpoints. And the final thing is they have to be able to find their car. If they don't find their car, they can't play.
And I noticed you added some extra water hazards this year, Tom.
Yes, we did. This is where they're going to find some of their route notes, and if you make a mistake, you go for a swim.
Which is exactly what happened to Graham Holmes of the Land Rover Toronto team.
You saw that one, Mom?
I'm sure your mom would be proud of you, Graham. Once the vehicles were found, it was time to climb aboard, strap in, and begin the rally portion of the test.
The rally part's always interesting because you have a driver and 2 navigators. The navigator is reading the tulip charts and giving all these directions to the driver. But it gets very confusing when you're trying to be on time. And as you'll see, it gets to be a bit of a mess inside of the car.
Well, at least this year, the teams will be comfortable. Last year, we used Land Rover Discoveries. This year, we moved to the top of the line Range Rover 4.6-liter HSE V8s with automatic transmissions. Let's climb aboard, beginning with the Land Rover Peabody team.
Okay, we'll trail on the left. Go slow. You're going way too fast. No, you're going 10. Oh, it's almost 10. No, it wasn't. It's not very good. Just telling you, go slow. Okay. Straight. We're going to take a right. Okay? Yeah. Chris, I need you spotting ahead of me and everything if you can.
Bending some rough, there's no path to the
Okay.
We're making a left right here.
We're making a left, and look, it's got another path.
I know. No, this is it. This is right.
We're right, there's another path. Straight. Okay. Sweeping curve at 116. Two roads crossing. We're right.
There's your first one. Okay. There's,
Now on board with Land Rover Toronto.
We make a right? All right, go ahead. Oh. Oh, yeah.
Little confusion I sense there, Tom.
That's pretty much normal for the time speed distance, especially when you have 3 people trying to figure it out.
Trying to average a certain rate of speed. If you arrive too early or too late at a checkpoint, you suffer time penalties. And at the very end, the first real winching in anger exercise of the day, I guess we could say.
I would say winching in anger, but we have to always remember it has to be controlled and safe. Neatness and using the equipment properly is all important. If anything could go wrong here, you could be severely injured.
And each step of the way, the teams are watched by a panel of judges to make sure that no shortcuts are taken. And so as the sun rose over the beautiful autumn foliage in Vermont, the first 3 events are finished. The written test went to Land Rover Toronto. Land Rover Peabody won the Service Drive Challenge and the Time Speed Distance event as well. Still too early to pick a leader. Welcome back to Land Rover TReK 97. I'm Bob Barsha along with Tom Collins. Our next challenge, the Land Rover Trials, where speed is not the issue, but precision. To explain the rules, here's Jerry Bernardo.
We're down here in the trial section. Very difficult precision driving. It's really great. Here's the way the rules are. See these little wickets, the yellow things? You can't hit them. If you hit one, tap it, brush it, 30 seconds off, and the clock is running the whole time. Each one of the 3 competitors gets 1 loop around this course, and then they got to just jump, switch drivers, and take another turn around. Pretty technical, huh? But they're having fun. This is TReK. This is cool.
Okay.
Thanks, Jerry.
You ready?
As you might guess from Jerry's Boston accent, he considers the boys from Peabody to be the home team.
1, go!
All right, Joe. I see. Right on the left.
Straighten it up to the left. Go to the left. Go to the left. There you go. Watch your mirror. Get off the brake a little. Take it down through you. You missed it. You missed it. Take it to the left. Shoot for the left. My rear end. Shoot right inside of that pole. Right inside your left pole. Hug the outside. Hug the outside. Hug the outside. Hug the outside. Okay, come up in.
How am I doing on the right?
You're right. Go high. Go high. Go high. Go high. Okay. Shoot out. Okay, you got it. You got plenty of room over here. What about your side? Okay, cut.
It's cut hard.
Okay, you cut hard. You're going straight through that pole. Possible to clean it. He said stay to the left. You're going to cut at the last minute before that pole.
I got a mirror over here.
Okay. Back up if you're worried. That's enough. Go. Did you slide? Watch. You're sliding.
How am I over
Watch
there?
your mirror. You're fine.
We're all straight over here.
John, don't cut too much. Go. Cut. A little more. Nice. Back over that way. And you're going to come up high on this. A little bit. Okay. Go right straight through down there. Cut more. Okay, go. Go.
Where's
left
Whippy?
a little? You're right. You're okay. You're going to the left now. You're going to the left now.
I know.
Okay. You're going to swing wide. What? No hits. Go. All right.
This is
John.
bad.
It's okay. Okay. John, don't turn the other way. I got it. I got plenty of room. Go ahead, John. Swing wide. High. Out high. Nice.
No, cut.
No. Last man. Okay, cut. Go, you got it. You cleared it. Swing a little more. Okay, cut. You got it. Go. Come back. Okay, you got plenty of room over here. Watch your corner.
I'm watching my rear too, all right?
Yeah, I got you. I'm off the window. Go straight. Shoot it straight through. Okay, we got plenty of room down here to turn. You got plenty of room on my side, John. Plenty. Okay, miss the tree now. You got an angle. Nice. Okay. Go straight in and then down to the left. You got this.
Right. You're gonna hit the post. Going right.
One. Is that a hit?
Yeah.
Okay. Go. Go. We already hit it. Take it high on the bank. Okay. And then.
This is a ball buster, man.
Isn't it? It's nice. You're doing a good job.
Great job.
Straight through. Straight through. Okay. Go. Sorry about that. Left. Left. Set it up straight through. This is a straight through shot. All three straight through. You got to be set up. Nice job.
Well, as you can see, one of the most difficult parts of this particular challenge is the tension inside the car, Tom.
Yes, it is, because you're trying to make decent time getting through the post, but you don't want to hit one of them. And the thing that really upsets you is when the judge is on the outside calling the number of hits. That totally ruins your ego. 1, go.
Now, in a couple of departures from last year, we're using larger vehicles with automatic transmissions. And unlike last year, they're not allowed to fold in those side view mirrors to get extra clearance at the wicket.
We wanted the cars to be driven in their normal configuration. I was really impressed with the ability of the drivers this year. I reset this course for the finals, and I had a lot of practice, and I only got through with one hit. And I saw several of the competitors drive with no practice and not hit any of the days.
The final irony of the trials was that the BMC team had the fewest number of hits, but went over on time. They finished 4th. Welcome back to Vermont, where the Land Rover TReK 97 continues. I'm Bob Barsha, along with Tom Collins and Jerry Bernardo. Our next challenge, the Land Rover Cross. Call it an autocross on dirt. The idea being not to hit cones or pass up the gates, because you'll incur penalties.
The idea here was to go through the course as fast as you could, but the teams never really grasped that. They took this on more like a trials course, and I believe that they did this because in the rain during the trials, you could barely get through this course, but on a dry day like the finals, you could really go for it. They never really did.
Good.
No, you did really good. I mean, you had a really good run. The other guys are all going, wow, look, oh, he's hauling butt. He's looking good. Everything was working.
Good. Right. Fell into place.
The vehicle handles well out here.
Oh, yeah, it felt great.
And so with 5 events complete, 3 victories for Land Rover Peabody, opening up a lead over second place Land Rover Buckhead in the overall. Now we move on to the Sporting Clays competition, which each member of the team fires at clay targets hurled through the air. Jerry Bernardo is standing by with Bob Burns of Land Rover to discuss the inclusion of Sporting Clays in Land Rover TReK.
Right, Bob, explain to us the decision to involve Sporting Clays in this very specialized event.
As we look for the property to do the event, Tinmouth proved to have everything we needed. We had ponds for canoe races, great off-roading, and it was all really built around the Sporting Clay, so it seemed kind of crazy not to use it. Also, we're using Range Rover as the vehicle this year, and it really fits into the lifestyle of a typical Range Rover owner with Sporting Clay and general outdoor activities.
Each team member fired 6 rounds from each of 4 stations. And the results were surprisingly competitive. There's Keith Kim cheering on his teammate Graham Holmes, who afterwards sounded suspiciously experienced at shooting.
It's pretty challenging. They're making the angles very difficult for you. You've got to give them a little lead and probably shoot a little bit underneath. But I've hit a few doubles, and our team's doing well. I think we're in for a strong finish, and we're going to give them a run for the money.
Are you looking forward to the mountain biking?
Yeah, I'm really pumped for that. That's my favorite event. So that and the canoes, it's going to be good.
We'll get to the bikes in a moment. In Sporting Clays, the boys from Georgia, Land Rover Buckhead, came out on top, tightening up their battle for the lead with Land Rover Peabody. We'll be right back. Welcome back to a beautiful autumn day in Vermont as Land Rover TReK 97 continues. Ready now for a little mountain biking, but not your average autumn day pedal around the park. Uphill on stairs, downhill on mud, back uphill on leaves. How tough is it? Jerry Bernardo puts the question to Land Rover Buckhead.
You
guys think? I think those guys over there are way too serious from Peabody. What are you thinking?
I believe they are.
Do you think they like are in the lead or anything? Or
We have no idea.
do you really care?
At this point, no.
I was going to say, just right now, he just wants to get this part of the grueling exercise over.
Correct.
Followed by maybe a little swim, some canoeing.
Like the canoeing without the swim, maybe.
Notice how the interviewer is very lighthearted because he doesn't have to perform any of these rituals and tasks. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quit picking on him, Jerry. The task ahead is a tough one. Tom Collins, this may be the toughest mountain bike event we've ever had.
I think the part that's the toughest is a sadistic set of obstacles that the teams are encountering. And the thing is that if you don't cross the obstacle properly, you get to start over and do it over and over again until you get it right.
2 laps per member of the teams, handing off the bike in between. And as you can see, in the early stages of each loop, you don't use the bike at all.
Nope, it's just running and trying to work your way through the obstacles. And these obstacles are quite easy when you're not competing, but under the pressure of competition, they become very difficult.
As you can hear, each team rooting on the individual member on course. At this stage of the competition, Land Rover Peabody from Massachusetts has a slight lead in points over Land Rover Buckhead from Atlanta, Georgia. But Buckhead has been the more consistent, never finishing out of the top 3, while Land Rover Peabody at this point has won 4th place finish in the sporting clays. That could hurt them as the competition goes on.
None of the teams were looking forward to this event because it's such a killer event. Going up the hills and then coming down through the muddy downhill and going over the obstacles, it really hurt the teams in the trials. Now in the finals, they have to do 2 laps, not 1.
Rock and roll, buddy! Rock and roll!
At the end of the balance beams, it is indeed time to rock and roll. Into the saddle and off on the loop, and a very, very difficult one. Here's a competitor who chose to push rather than ride the bike up the hill to the staircase. That's Graham Holm from Land Rover Toronto, and from the way he's breathing, you can tell just how tough this is. There's his teammate, Key Kim. And on the uphill push, Tim Perrell of Land Rover Peabody. Now wearing our helmet cam is test rider Martin DeJong. He's had an interesting day. Of course, Martin's all right. Now let's get the view from the top of his head as he misses that left-hander.
Of course I'm all right. Keep it going.
Now back to the action. Whoops. That's Willie Solano of BMC San Francisco, and just behind him, another rider having a problem negotiating the left. No question, perhaps the toughest physical test thus far. In the end, Land Rover Peabody picked up their 4th victory in 7 events. 2nd place for Land Rover Buckhead. We'll take a break and return to Land Rover TReK with the canoe event. Stay with us. Welcome back to Land Rover TReK 97. Bob Barsha, Tom Collins, and Jerry Bernardo with you. A lot of discussion now as we prepare for the canoe race, and why not? A lot of strategy at work in this event, Tom.
Yes, there is. The object of this event is to sprint as fast as you can, get your canoe, enter the first lake, get across the first lake, then portage over the dam into the second lake, and go to the end. Along the way, there's jerry cans that are full of water. They weigh 40 pounds. You have to pick 1 can up in the first lake, 1 in the second lake, and 1 at the end of the second lake, and then sprint back. But you don't have to necessarily pick them up in the when you first encounter them. So the strategy comes in: do you want to lug the can all the way through the lakes, or do you pick them up on the way back? There is a little bit of a gamble, though. Your can may not be obvious, and if the other 2 have been picked up, then you have to search for that last can.
Now, the color of the life jackets has nothing to do with which team is which. Graham Holmes from Land Rover Toronto was out front with his canoe, but he tried to pull it by himself, and he was quickly overtaken by a canoe with more than 1 man carrying. And we should point out they have to return these canoes to the place they found them from, as well as lugging 120 pounds worth of water in those jerry cans.
Easy, Tim. Don't touch.
Like we have some experienced canoers there on the Land Rover Peabody team.
You guys got it. Outside.
Land Rover Toronto going by.
Let's go, guys. Go, go, go. Come on, guys. Come on, go, go, go. Pull.
Land Rover Buckhead pushes off. Now here come the first of the cans filled with water. There's Tim Burrell, first to the jerry cans. He looks a bit tired. Keep in mind, these guys have been up since 4 o'clock this morning with almost non-stop activity. A 30-minute lunch break is all they've had between events that were either physically taxing or mentally so. That's Graham Holmes from Toronto.
And Ken Clark from Buckhead.
Graham Holmes serving as the unofficial coxswain for his group. Whoops, wrong turn for Toronto. That's Rob Assatori on the stern. They're gonna have to go backward. There are the cans lying in the water, directly astern. Looks like Land Rover Buckhead is going to pass them. Nope, the bucket goes into the Toronto boat first. Ooh, notice how low the canoes ride in the water with all of that weight on board now. That'll make them even more difficult to turn.
All of the teams have taken the same choice when it came to strategy. They picked all their cans up on the return lap. This saved a lot of energy, and towards the end of the event, every ounce of energy you can save will help you out.
And Rover Peabody.
All right, guys, come on.
Tim Burrell in the bow, yanking that can out of the water with one hand. Very physical group.
Land Rover Peabody is proven to be the most physical of all the groups. They're extremely capable. In just a second here, you'll see how strong they really are.
Time for another portage. Tim Burrell, John Skews, and Chris Halloran of Land Rover Peabody.
Come on, pump it.
Goes Chris with the first two cans. Skews yanks out the third can. And now watch this. With a canoe, a little bit of water in the bilges. Skews is going to pick it up to portage. No problem. And this at the end of a very, very long day. Now here comes Land Rover Buckhead. Ken Clark, Ricky Moore, and Tim Rocket passing Land Rover Toronto. Key Kim, Rob Assatori, and Graham Holmes. Whoa, but they almost missed their third can.
I got it. Go, Ken. Go, Ken. Go, Ken.
And Toronto comes sweeping back by. Meanwhile, at the finish line, Chris Halloran and the rest of Land Rover Peabody come through for their 5th event victory out of 8 contested thus far. Buckhead repasses Toronto for 2nd place. It'll be Peabody and Buckhead as we go to the last event to score double points in the TReK Test Drive. Stay with us. Welcome back to Land Rover TReK 97. Bob Varsha, Tom Collins, and Jerry Bernardo with you for the final event, the much anticipated and double point scoring TReK Test Drive. Our first pair of competitors, Land Rover Peabody against Land Rover Buckhead, the top 2 teams in the competition right now.
Okay, this course is a very technical course. It includes everything that we've seen in Camel Trophy and other events around the world that Land Rover participates in. Here we're entering what we call the border gates. The teams must open the gates and close. The car has to be stopped 1 meter before and 1 meter after so that the team members can get in and out. If they touch any of the obstacles or ropes, there's a 1 minute in-place penalty. And at all the bridges, the team members have to have a spotter before the car goes down. And as you see here, Peabody has not had a spotter go out in front of the car, so there's going to be a penalty. And this could really hurt him. It's a very tight competition on this course.
You need a spotter? Want me to back up? Back up? Hang on.
Out goes the spotter, but now they must serve the penalty. Not a 1 minute in-place penalty here. Simply back up and start over again.
Watch him, watch him, watch him.
You have to pay attention to details.
Now to an obstacle called the Third World Gate, with 3 separate elements that must be removed and replaced after the vehicle is through.
Good.
And the vehicle may not move until all members of the team are buckled back in place. You see the judges scrambling around, watching from several angles.
They're now coming to the Corduroy Bridge, and this bridge has elements that are missing that must be filled in by the team members before they can cross.
Now keep in mind, this is a double points event, so this is everything to both of these teams. They are first and second in the standings coming in. One will advance to the championship runoff, the other is out and can hope for no better than second or third place in the competition.
Did you see Ricky Moore there? He was hooking up his winch control cable and getting a little head start on the other teams, preparing for another section of the course. It's a good strategy, that may help.
Bring it up, coach.
Now this Corduroy Bridge is built with structural members underneath, but as you see, if you get too far to the left or right, you're going to topple off that bridge as though it were made of toothpicks.
One more, stop.
Now they'll have to remove the bridge members from behind the vehicle and replace them in front.
You have to really hustle on this one to get through it fast. It's hard work.
And once again, this is at 3:30 in the afternoon, nearly 12 hours after the Land Rover TReK finals started.
One at a time, guys, one at a time. There you go, one at a time. Come on.
Well, it looks like Land Rover Peabody is made up for their early penalty. They're neck and neck with Buckhead.
Let me know.
It's Chris Halloran behind the wheel.
1/5. Bring it on, Chris. Easy, easy. Slowly, bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. Go, 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 go.
And even with the vehicle off the bridge, the job is not done. They have to remove those loose logs once again.
Keep it going, keep it going. Is that good?
Come on, guys, come on, good.
Once again, buckle up. As Land Rover Buckhead comes off
Stop, Chris.
the Corduroy Bridge. And now 2 wheels up.
This doesn't look like it's too difficult, but the thing that the teams don't realize is that it's at such an extreme angle that the rear axle starts to steer the car. So you always have to correct the steering to stay on the bridge.
Peabody through, now here comes Buckhead.
Oh, they didn't line it up for their first try. This is costing them a little bit.
Buckhead chose to go with just one spotter. Another gate ahead, and then the pole rafting across the pond. And finally, winching across the ravine. The driver operates the winch electronically. His teammates pull the cable out.
Stop! 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 Stop!
In the trials, the winching made the difference between winning and losing. One mistake here can cost you the event.
And across the line comes Land Rover Buckhead, probably by virtue of the time they saved when Ricky Moore got the winch ready early. Now to our second pair, Land Rover Toronto and British Motor Cars of San Francisco.
probably notice that one car takes the lead and all of a sudden the other car will catch up. Well, that's from the natural stagger of the course. This course is set up much like a running track where the corners, the insides and the outsides make for different times, and everything was all made equal. So you'll see teams ahead and behind.
Rob Assatori behind the wheel, Key Kim and Graham Holmes for Land Rover Toronto. Back in and buckled up.
Take it easy, Rob.
I'm right there. Right? Yeah.
Keep in mind, the winner of this pair has the opportunity to win the entire competition by moving into the final against Land Rover Buckhead and winning there. I'll bet there's some skinned knuckles in that group.
Once again, we're having a very tight race. It seems to be head-to-head with San Francisco just a little bit ahead at this point.
Time is irrelevant. It is simply beat the other team. First to the finish line is the winner.
They got across the broken bridge there very quickly.
Key Kim concentrating on lining up the vehicle. Now watch the contrast in styles as they work that tether to get across the pond.
Land Rover Toronto is very coordinated getting the raft across the pond.
Looking like a crew team. And now a problem for BMC San Francisco.
You've got some time to burn. Okay. Breathe. Just breathe. He stepped over too. We got a minute in place. It's all right.
Oh, the disappointment for the crew. Bart Nelson stepped across the winch cable, and that's a safety violation. They'll have to stop for a minute.
That's going to be the world's longest minute.
Bart Nelson there at the front of the vehicle is simply heartbroken.
Seatbelts.
This is Toronto's opportunity.
Hang on.
Go.
All right, Land Rover Toronto is going to enter the finals.
Go, right across. Yeah.
We'll be back for the finals of the test drive in a moment.
5.
3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back to Vermont. Land Rover TReK, the championship final in the test drive between Land Rover Buckhead right there and Land Rover Toronto to the left. Slight mistake there, lining up for the first crossing.
Well, Ricky Moore thinks he's going to open the gate by himself, but I don't think he has enough strength to do that. There we go.
Despite having to back up, Land Rover Buckhead with a slight lead, although there's Toronto just outside the windows on the left.
To me.
Go. In. Easy, don't hit, don't. Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Go.
On board with Toronto.
Graham, get out. Go.
Third world gate and a required driver change once the vehicle is through. Toronto going for their winch kit. They've obviously been watching Buckhead.
They're getting ready. They're setting themselves up in advance. All these little things add up to make a difference.
This is Buckhead.
I'm in.
Ricky Moore now behind the wheel.
All right, watch it.
Watch me.
Good back here.
Okay, here.
They're taking their time. They don't want to get a 1-minute penalty by hitting one of those stakes posts.
Out of the corduroy bridge, let's see if Moore goes for the winch control as he did before to save time. Yes, he is. He's out of the cockpit.
That's it.
Now Toronto going for 2 poles per man. Well, at least in the case of one man.
Well, Ricky's setting up his winch cable, but I noticed that Ki Kim had gotten out and done the same thing. These teams have been paying attention.
Stringing the wire under the windshield wiper so it doesn't flop down the left side of the car into the wheel well. Buckhead taking a close look at the construction of their bridge. Now Moore gets back in. Kim driving for Toronto.
It takes a lot of hustle here to stay ahead. Those logs are heavy.
Come on, there you go. That's it. Don't stop now. That's it. Go. Come on. Bring him, Graham, bring him.
Buckhead creeping forward as each log is laid.
Hustle, boys! Talk to me, Ken! Come on, Buckhead! Come on, guys!
All right, Ricky's across the log bridge. Looks like they're going to take the lead.
Oh, notice the technique for removing the logs, just flipping them into a pile on the other side. Ooh, Toronto's made a mistake. They need more logs at the front.
That Key kind of overshot the bridge a little bit at first and almost got the car stuck.
So while Toronto deals with their dilemma, Buckhead is mounting back up and they're on their way. We'll see if they can hold that lead. Stay with us.
Watch the ones behind you. Watch the ones behind you. That's it.
Land Rover TReK 97 is being brought to you by Land Rover, the best 4x4 by far. We pick up the action in the final test drive of the day. With a stunt plane overhead, Land Rover Buckhead creeps onto the raft. They'll pull themselves across, winch the vehicle off of the raft, and then it's a clean drive to the finish. They have a big lead right now over Land Rover Toronto as the team goes to work.
Well, it looks like Buckhead is a little more coordinated in the water this time.
There's Joe Rich and the members of Land Rover North Point from Atlanta, last year's winners of the Land Rover TReK, pulling for their crosstown rivals. This is looking more and more like the Henley Regatta. Now here comes Toronto, who suffered at the Corduroy Bridge when they overshot and had to wait until the bridge could be rebuilt. But keep in mind, Toronto is very good on the water.
But you can also see that the Toronto team members are starting to get tired. They're not moving as fast as they were in the beginning.
Now they go to work. Ooh, Ki Kim at the back, pulling with one hand. They are a tired group. Ricky Moore unstringing the line for the winch for Buckhead as Toronto makes land.
Toronto's going to have to really hustle now to catch up.
Be careful not to step across the winch cable. Now the car's essentially even as they go to work on the winching. Have to be careful that the cable spools up neatly.
Toronto's not out of it yet. One little mistake by Buckhead during the winching can turn this whole event around.
There's Ricky mentioning the name of Mac Barber, who lives in Macon, Georgia. Helps train athletes for the Camel Trophy event. Camel Trophy, the international form of the Land Rover TReK, if you like.
All right, straight.
At the end of the day, with all of this pressure, it must be the toughest thing in the world to go slowly and deliberately.
Buckhead has the winch all wound up properly, and they're ready to go.
Careful to buckle up.
That's it. Buckhead's going to do it.
Hammer, 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 hammer.
Champions of Land Rover 97, Land Rover Buckhead from Atlanta. And there are the members of last year's champions from Land Rover North Point to offer congratulations. And I guess you can forgive the guys for not exactly jumping for joy. They are tired. Meanwhile, Toronto is off the raft. Give them credit. They will finish second in this event and third on the day. Down to Jerry Bernardo.
Yeah, I'm going to start out right here.
Yeah.
That was neck and neck. I think the deciding factor was over there on the little bridge you had to replace the logs.
Yeah, well, it was tough. It was close all the way, but we couldn't have lost to a better bunch of guys. So
it was a great race right up. Always here, the deciding factor is the water. They caught up.
They did. They were strong in that water. I ain't figured out how they're doing that yet.
Yeah, it was real strong in the water because I didn't see them, and then we were in the water, and then all of a sudden I heard these planks go, these ramps go up. Oh hell, they're right behind us. So they were really, really tough. They were right. They caught up well.
There's been a lot of problems associated with winching throughout the day, and I think the fans were going off because you guys were neck and neck with full winching. Total concentration.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, get that winch. A lot of concentration so you don't step over it. It's not quite the photo finish I was looking for, but...
It looked just like it. I mean, you guys were right there.
Yeah, it was close.
He's a lot with the words, right? And finally, what do you have to say, kid? Open up to me.
I just want to say hi to the guys in Toronto, and thanks for the support. And we'll see you soon.
Fine competition. Let's hear it right now. Great race.
No question about it, Jerry. A great race indeed. Congratulations to all four of our finalists. Land Rover Buckhead comes away the victors over Land Rover Peabody, followed by Toronto and British Motor Cars of San Francisco.
I'd like you guys to hand this to the guys down the road. Yeah. Buckhead, come on up. Buckhead. Go Buckhead. Great job. All right. Fantastic.
Congratulations indeed to Land Rover Buckhead, winners of Land Rover TReK 1997. I'm Bob Barsha for Tom Collins and Jerry Bernardo. Thanks for being with us. So long, everyone.
All right.